Hey everyone, it's Kayla from The Casual Crafter, and today I'm going to be doing some Christmas DIY decor. I want to give a big shout out to Heidi Sambol and her channel because she's hosting this Christmas DIY challenge. So down below I'll link a playlist of all the other YouTubers who have joined in and all their videos that are a part of this challenge. So you can go through and discover new people to watch. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. Here I'm just taking a package of plastic spoons from Dollar Tree as well as a glass little candle holder that I got. I'm going to be tearing off the tops of these spoons, just using some pliers to do so. I'm going to be taking these spoon tops and going all around the top and gluing those down. And as I go, I'm going to be painting. I'm going to be using Waverly chalk paint in Truffle. And then I'm going to start a new layer. And I think you get the idea here. I just keep going around and around, gluing where there's a spot. You might have to adjust some ever so slightly so they kind of line up a little better, but and here I have a pinecone shape. Obviously you shouldn't actually burn a candle in here because these are plastic spoons and they will melt. But if you get like one of those little tea lights, the battery powered ones from Dollar Tree, that should be fine. And yeah, I think it looks great. Here I'm just taking one of those wooden puzzles that you can get in the toy section at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be staining it. I'm using Varathane wood stain in, I believe, dark walnut. I did stain the back as well, but that's not as necessary if you're going to be using it how I plan to. And then I'm just taking one of these ornaments that I got at Dollar Tree in the Christmas section. I want to use the deer head part, and I didn't really like the little floral that was on it, so I took that off as well. Here I just took some of the garland that you can get at Dollar Tree. I just wrapped it around a couple times, and I'm actually trimming some of it off because it was a bit too long for my liking. It makes a mess, so be careful when you do this. But I just try to make a circle shape with that. And then I'm going to glue some of these mini pine cones that I also got at Dollar Tree. I just tried to pick ones that I thought would fit well, similar in size and shape maybe. And once that's done, I'm going to be gluing this down to the back onto that wood puzzle. You can use a stronger glue than hot glue if you'd like. And you can always cover the back of this puzzle up with like some craft paper so you don't see the weird shapes. It didn't bother me that much, but you could always do that to make it look a little more finished. And then I'm just gluing this head in the middle. I will say my head did come off, so I do recommend using more than just hot glue on there. Here I'm just taking one of these shadow boxes that Dollar Tree has. I really liked the wood frame of this one, so I'm trying to pop out that back. It takes a little bit of work, but eventually I get it out. And then I'm going to take off that front sign that's just kind of stuck on there. And this ornament that I got from Dollar General. I just liked how this one looked, but I don't really want the top, and it's kind of hooked on with like a wood hanger, so I'm going to be using just my box cutter to cut that off. So I'm just going to give that part of the shadow box just a rough sanding so that my scrapbook paper will stick a little better and it'll be a smoother surface to attach to. So I'm just using the scrapbook paper. It's the birch scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby. You can use any kind you like. And I just trace the back of it so I can get the right shape. And I'm just going to cut that out with a box cutter. You can use scissors, it doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to be using a glue stick that I got from Dollar Tree to glue that down onto there. I really like using glue sticks on these because I feel like with Mod Podge, my paper tends to wrinkle a lot more. And this seems to stick just as well for me. So I'm just pressing that down, and I'll touch up any corners or anything that I need to. And then I'm going to sand the edges just to make sure it gets a seamless look on the sides. I'm going to be sanding away from the edge just so I don't ruin the paper itself. And then I'm just adding a little hot glue back into that frame and adding it to the backing. And then here I'm just trying to line up where that ornament should go centered on the box and adding some hot glue. And there you have it, an easy little shadow box for yourself. This next one's pretty similar, but I'm just taking one of those canvases that you can get at Dollar Tree, and I took the backing off, and I'm just going to be staining the wood frame that you get underneath it. I believe I'm using Dark Walnut by Minwax. And I'm going to be taking this decal that I got from a Dollar General sheet, I believe. A Dollar General sticker sheet. And another piece of that scrapbook paper. I'm going to glue that down, the frame down, and then cut that off the back. So I'm just left with the paper and the frame. You could always add like foam core to the back of this, and it'd be a sturdier backing. But here I'm just adding some Mod Podge to the window cling with my finger. Yes, with my finger. You could obviously use a different tool. So once I get that centered in place, I press it down and cover the top as well with Mod Podge. Still with my finger. I'm a messy crafter, you guys. And once it's dry, it's good to go. Here I'm just taking a couple of those incense holders, as well as a couple skewers and some foam core that I cut a couple little circles into. You can trace any little circle you have. Those little wood pieces, I was given those from someone's garage, but you could find similar things at Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to trim down those little skewers. You can get those at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to put those little ends on them however long I think they should be. And I'm just going to hot glue those on the end. Those are supposed to be ski poles. It'll come together in a bit, you'll see. So I'm just going to be filling that hole of the incense holder on each of them with some spackling that I got at Dollar Tree. Then I'm going to try and cut the ends here. This was quite a struggle for me. I'm trying to round the ends like a ski would be. I picked up this wood carving set at Dollar Tree. I thought maybe that would help me. It wasn't working very well either. I should have been wearing gloves. I luckily didn't cut myself, but I don't recommend doing this. If you can think of a better way, I know miter shears would be a good way to trim this. Just honestly, maybe just going at it a few times with some scissors would be a better idea than what I did here. So I ended up using my drill, drilling a couple holes best I could in the end, and then I think I ended up trying to just cut that with regular scissors and then sanded the heck out of it. And I did that to both of them. The second time was a bit easier because I had an idea of what I was doing, but then I'm just going to go over those. I didn't sand them down anymore or anything. I'm just going over those with some dark walnut stain again. It obviously doesn't stick the best because there's already a finish on it, but it worked pretty well. Or you could always leave them as is if you like that wood color. I'm going to be staining the handles of my ski poles as well. The stain looks a lot darker on these just because of how the wood is. It's probably a different type of wood as well, so... And then I'm going to be taking just some black acrylic paint, painting my little foam stopper on the end and the poles themselves. Once those are done, I thought they needed a little extra, so I took some twine and I decided to loop it and glue it to the ends of the poles, kind of like handles on a ski pole. And then I decided to tie the poles together. And here I'm just going to be hot gluing the skis together in a cross pattern. And then I'm going to glue the poles to the front, but making sure they're not too long so that it can still lean appropriately. And then I did end up adding a little ornament tag that I got at Walmart. These skis were actually inspired by some skis I saw on Heidi Sambel's channel or Instagram, I'm not sure. So here I'm taking this doormat that I got at Dollar Tree. I was so impressed with their doormats this year. And I'm taking this furring strip of wood. It's really cheap wood you can get at any hardware store. And I'm just trimming that down using my miter box at a 45-degree angle. I was struggling a bit here, but eventually I got it. I measured them out, obviously, so they would fit around the doormat. And then I'm just giving those a good sanding because, like I said, it's not very good quality wood. A good sanding is definitely necessary. And then I'm just going to be making sure I'm getting right angles with these and applying some wood glue in each of the corners and then clamping that and letting it dry. And then once that's dry, I'm going to trace it out on some foam core, just a poster board sheet I got at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to cut that out just using my box cutter. This will just provide a sturdier backing because the doormat's pretty flimsy and thin. And then I'm going to be using my trick of whitewashing, just some water and some white acrylic paint. I wanted the wood color to be a little lighter than the natural wood color, so I'm just applying that all over. And once it's done, the foam core, I line it up and then I glue it down the mat in the different corners. But once it's glued in the corners, I lay the frame on top, and I'm just going to be gluing that overlapping foam core. So here I found these really cute ornament signs at Dollar Tree, and I had some ideas for them. I wanted to take some scrapbook paper and some stencils and spell out the word joy. So here I'm just going to be taking the metal part off the top because I still want to use that, and I just peel off that excess paper that's on the back. This one, the paper came off pretty easily, so I was able to sand it. Not all of them did that happen, but I sanded what I could. And then here I'm just tracing out this on the scrapbook paper the shape of the ornament. And that scrapbook paper I just got at Hobby Lobby. Once that's all traced out, I'm just going to be taking a glue stick that I got at Dollar Tree and gluing bit by bit onto this sign. You could use Mod Podge if you like, but I just am afraid of wrinkles. It seems like whenever I use it, it never turns out right, so. And then I'm just going to use a more precise knife to cut the little hole in the top. And then I'm going to go around and sand my edges, sanding outward just so that it makes a clean edge. And be careful when you hot glue this metal part back on because it is very hot. I mean, it is metal. I'm just going to be taking some Waverly paint in moss, I believe. And I have these stencils I got from Waverly. I got them on clearance one time at Walmart, but I'm sure they still have them or something similar. I'm just going to be painting. I'm using just a makeup sponge to paint this J, and then I'll do the Y as well. So once those are done, I'm taking this little set of a grapevine wreath. They came in these little ones that I got at Hobby Lobby. I think there was 4 of them for pretty cheap. And then I'm taking some leftover greenery pieces that I have from different crafts. I end up trying to go with what I think is cedar, I believe. So I'm just going to be gluing those in to the wreath however I want. And I'm going to add some of these mini pine cones that I got at Dollar Tree. I decided to add some snow detail by using just some white acrylic paint and touching any edges that I can. I did end up adding another pine cone in, and then I just glued that to the center of my ornament sign. And now I'm just going to be adding some ribbon to the tops of each of these. I'm just going to make a simple bow. This ribbon I got at Dollar Tree. It's like burlap with lace. I just add those to the J and Y signs. And once this is done, you could hang these from a wall if you want, or you can just set them up side by side, or you can add something to hold them up in place instead of leaning them on something. But yeah, I thought these were really cute. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again to Heidi Sombel for hosting this challenge. Leave a comment down below of what your favorite item I made today was and what you're most excited for the holiday season. Thanks again for watching. Bye!